Welcome to the only daily research news video report, Your Research Business Daily Report, where we're sponsored today and this week by Nuance, offering multi-language verbatim coding services that help companies quantify the meaning of open-ended answers. Nuance, a decision analyst company. With the World Cup already underway in Brazil, McKinsey & Company decided it was an appropriate time to show you how to analyze the worth of sponsorships. Now, a clear sponsorship strategy, McKinsey says, is the foundation. But then you have to have a complete marketing ROI program in place to support it, and it should be based on 5 metrics that look at performance. The first is cost per reach, the number of people exposed to the sponsorship and through other media. Second, unaided awareness per reach. The key to this is significant spending on activation, namely marketing dollars that go behind the sponsorship to promote it. Third, sales margin per dollar spent. Now, there are 2 approaches here that can help quantify sales that are directly caused by the sponsorship. First, tie sponsorship dollars to unaided awareness, propensity to buy, and willingness to consider. And then, alternatively, you can use data on spending and reach over an extended period of time to establish the sponsorship and its link to sales. And then you can isolate the impact of those sponsorships from other marketing and sales activities. Metric number 4, long-term brand attributes, because most people look at sponsorships as being short-term, but they have the potential to build a brand's identity, and a qualitative assessment can identify brand attributes that a sponsorship supports. And finally, indirect benefits. These are activities related to the sponsorship that can stimulate sales, such as hosting your best customers at a sponsored event. Next, last week, as many of you know, the ARF bestowed the first Erwin Ephron Demystification Award on the very deserving Bill Harvey. Erwin was an outstanding market researcher, a great personality, and a fine gentleman. And we wanted to take this opportunity, because of the relationship that Bill and Erwin had, to look at that a little bit. I think you're going to find Bill's memories to be nostalgic and valuable if you are touched in any way by media research in your job, and we all are in one way or another in this industry.
He was a good friend. I met him very early on in the business. I was in the business for a year or two, and he and Ed Papazian at BBDO tried to hire me. It was he actually wrote a chapter of his book about me. The first chapter in his book, Media Planning, is about that story of the test they gave me and how I got the highest score. But then I argued that my answers were better than theirs on the few questions where they thought I was wrong. So we were fast friends. And then the ARF invited me to update the ARF media model in 1997, and I invited him to be my co-chair, and he said sure. So we worked together for 5 years, and then the ARF came out with the new media model that we had created in 2002. So I had 5 years of intense work with him on essentially everything that we knew about advertising. And then he called me just before he passed away, or really before he started to decline, about 6 months before he passed away, and said that we had unfinished work to do together to get the industry back to basics, things that weren't getting done.
He was a wonderful guy, and the characteristics that really kind of set him apart, his communication ability and his real desire to lead, are quite, interesting and dramatic. But what is there else about Erwin Ephron that is going to have a lasting impact in our industry?
Well, I mean, the quest for being a good student of the industry and a good student of what works and doesn't, because that's what he really was. He was an intellectual, and he had wide-ranging interests. He was very interested in the history of art, and he was an art collector. And I mean, there were so many things that he had studied deeply, and he studied our industry that way, and reported back to the industry his findings, which were summarized in such a crystalline manner. His slides make one point at a time. and the clarity with which he expressed himself, even improvisationally. It was as if he had worked on it for years and refined it down to just the fewest words that communicated everything.
I understand that there are 7 principles that he really believed very strongly in, that he actually put in his books, that you think are particularly pertinent today and well into the future. What are those?
Well, it's the basics, so to speak, that he wanted me to bring out. He didn't enumerate them as 7 or 6 or 8, but I kind of have organized them. So it's targeting, reaching the right people, the people who are actually going to drive the sales, people you can make a difference with in the direction of buying more. Geo-targeting, which is not the same as targeting. It's the optimization of the national and local mix. Because if you buy all national media, you're going to be throwing dollars into areas that show no sales response anymore. The brand is topped out in those areas. If you pull back that money and reinvest it in the other areas that have still a lot of opportunity for growth for a brand, but aren't getting enough, all of a sudden you are able to squeeze more growth. In his book, he said 5 to 10% more growth for any brand who uses this principle. Nowadays, with the mature brands seeing no growth domestically, I'm saying, maybe we can get 2%. Wouldn't 2% be better than 0%? It would make a big difference to quarterly earnings reports. The third thing was time targeting. Propinquity was the $10 word he liked to use, meaning let's reach people at the right time. Right before dinner is a good time to advertise food. Let's study who we're reaching in terms of car advertising, make sure they haven't just bought a new car and stuff. The fourth principle he's well known for is recency, that whenever somebody goes to make a purchase, we have to be media planning so that we hit them pretty soon before they go on that purchase trip. And therefore, things like flighting are working against us. And we have to figure out how to use all the media together to achieve that recency. The fifth one is media environmental impact factors, things like attention and other psychological effects that the medium has, the surrounding program has on the commercial. Again, that's one that has not been fully attended. And synergy, the way that media help each other sell. And that one is one that hasn't been fully developed yet in terms of collecting all the information that we need to understand how to use that. And satiation, which is the idea that every medium, as you use it, is tending to be reaching the kind of same people more and more. But if you throw the next buck into a different medium, you'll see an increase in sales. That it's better to use more different media to know where the satiation points are in each medium so that you can move on and add another medium at the right point.
Bill, thank you. He was a great guy, and you are a worthy successor.
Not feeling this.
Congratulations on the award.
I'm just mopping up some of his leftover work.
We thank Bill for sharing his thoughts, and his email address, as always, is bill@billharveyconsulting.com. That's your Research Business Daily Report, sponsored by Nuance, offering multi-language verbatim coding services that help companies quantify the meaning of open-ended answers. Nuance is a decision analyst company, and we want to help you find out more about the service. So we've set up a link. It is www.nuancecoding.com. Have a great research day, and we'll see you here tomorrow.